So if people can rustle cows, why won't they rustle your oil? If it's so
Yeah,
easy to rustle cows in our country, why wouldn't they rustle your oil? So everything gets rustled in our country. And it's something that we have to do something about it. So if
absolutely.
we truly want to attain prosperity as a country, we have to defeat this monster. And many people deserve to go to jail. Let us see the sanitation begin to happen. Let's
Right,
see examples being made of people.
right.
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a street smart person. I'm sure he has some information. And at the appropriate time, we will see him take action that will suggest that he's determined to put an end to some of the nonsense going on in our country. Why should people steal as much as 500,000 barrels of oil in a day? That
Yeah,
is
BKO.
the biggest organized crime that the world has ever seen.
Right, BKO.
On a given day, 500,000 barrels. No, no, no. It's not without official connivance, without the connivance of security forces. It is not possible for that level of stealing to happen.
Absolutely. King Joe Ogba says, I love this man, Jide. He always hits the nail on the head, in as much as I'm not a fan of Asari Dokubo, but he's saying the truth. Marco Yaide says, Asari Dokubo has said that the barges used in this oil theft are very large and vessels remained and easily spotted. President Tinubu should concentrate on arresting these large vessels. Felix Akiode says Azari Dokubo should not tar the whole military with corruption, but trust the president to tackle the rot. It is a task that must be done. Kennedy Joseph Kashmal says the bottom line is that Nigeria is not working from all of these EFCC, oil theft, etc. We don't know how much we export. Can you imagine that? But then, BKO, Mr. Dokubo, in the same breath, also hinted that President Tinubu hinted at President Tinubu sacking more high-profile Nigerians heading government agencies. He said, and I quote, Emefiele is gone, Bawa is gone, so more heads will roll. Do you feel he talked too much in this regard?
I agree that we have to arrest some more people. We have not arrested enough. The president has only just started work. We are happy that in just 2 weeks, people have seen the direction that the government is headed. People have seen that this man that many people thought will not be able to work, that will be too frail, will be too weak to work, will just be shouting Bala Blue all over the place. He is doing much more than saying Bala Blue. He's working, he's taking big decisions, big decisions that governments before him were too scared to take. And we can only pray that it will sustain the momentum, because it will take drastic steps to fix our country. There are many thieves out there that need to be arrested, because so much looting happened during the last administration. President Buhari, undoubtedly a very honest man with integrity, but a lot of the people that surrounded him were bare-faced thieves. And I believe that in the fullness of time, these people will be unmasked, and Nigerians will see clearly that these guys did not have patriotism at heart at all, and they were enemies of their country, because some of the looting that happened or they permitted to happen will show clearly that they actually hate our country, that they are enemies of our country. How can an individual steal 109 billion and he has returned 44 billion inside? That's the accountant general of a nation. Now look at what we are discovering with IPPIS. When ASU said we don't want IPPIS, there was nothing that the former Minister of Education and others didn't say. Now we are seeing the rots. We are seeing what they are doing with IPPIS. The unnecessary padding of salaries and all that, just for people to be able to steal through the IPPIS. It's been exposed now that the president has even ordered the suspension and then prosecution of some individuals, who were manipulating the IPPIS. So the truth, like a philosopher said, is like a mole. You cover the mole on one side and it comes out at the other end. It creates space for itself through the sand and comes out at the other end. That's the way the truth is. The truth is so by nature so self-evident. And we are seeing the truth now. The president only needs to do a lot more. He has to sustain the momentum. Somebody has already suggested that at least 10 officials in the last administration must be arrested. Senate House of Reps, former House of Reps member, Honorable Gudaji Kazaure, has said at least 10 persons must be arrested. I want to believe that more than 12 persons in the last administration need to be arrested. A lot of nonsense that happened, last minute looting and all that happened, they need to account. They need to account for what they have done. If they are found clean as a whistle, they should be left alone. But no one is too big to be investigated. So there's a need to investigate some of those ideas, some of those steps that were taken. Look at the nonsense that happened with the Nigerian air. It's a scandal of monumental proportion. And people are asking, when are we going to take a second look at this deal? So Hadi Sirika has to explain. We are not interested in his verbal war with the owner of Airpeace. No, he has to explain to Nigerians. How did an aircraft registered as belonging to Ethiopian Airways come to Nigeria in the colors of Nigerian Air? What happened? There's a lot on the table of Mr. President, and we can only pray for him to succeed in his task of changing our country. But I am confident that Asiwaju will change Nigeria. If there's something that I'm sure of, it is that Asiwaju will change our country. I was reading a South African newspaper. They were already calling him Mr. Go Fast. Because those big steps, those 3 steps that he took so early in his administration, they were not expecting it. Look at the way the NLC has been disarmed. If the NLC were to go on strike today, it's going to be a monumental failure. They've been thoroughly disarmed. It's the same government. The government was the first to say we are increasing salary of workers. They didn't wait for us for NLC to say you must do it. Tinubu was the first in his meeting with APC governors that this is the time for us to do something about the salaries.
Amazing.
And the NEC meeting has already come up with proposals. So it's a country that is due for real change, not change simply mounted by politicians who do not know their left from their right. Real change, change that you and I can feel. Our country is due for that kind of change.